Hello again, fellow After Effects artists and enthusiasts. I'm Rob Mize, and I'd like to share a technique with you using what I find to be one of After Effects' handiest and most useful tools, shapes. Today we'll use them to quickly and easily convert less than ideal images into crisp, alias-free vector art. This has been a real time saver for me, and I hope will prove to be for you also. So let's get started. Let's create a new comp, call it Logo, and let's make it 1280 by 720. I think 15 seconds duration will be fine. Here's the logo that we're going to be working with. Now my client couldn't provide me with a logo, and so I Googled USDA Snap and got the highest quality logo I could find. It is just not acceptable at all. So we're going to see if we can't recreate this, and I will start by bringing this back down to 100% scaling, and I'll remove this text. I'm not going to include this text in my logo, so I'll draw a mask around that and make that mask in the subtract mode, leaving our graphic there. Let's take a look at that and go up to Layer and choose Auto Trace, and I'm going to trace the current frame. I'm going to make my trace based on the luminance channel, and I want a threshold a little bit higher than that. I'll change that to 95% with a corner roundness of 10%. I will leave Apply to New Layer unchecked, and let's take a look. Okay, as you can see, After Effects has created masks around these various shapes in the logo, again based on the luminance channel. And these masks are going to be the basis for the shapes that create our vector art logo. So let me create a new shape, and I'll start by grabbing my pen tool, and I'll just make a quick triangle. Now I'm using a triangle because these other shapes, the rectangle tool, rounded, ellipse tool, polygon, and star tools, those will not accept the shape of the mask pasted into those paths. So you need a hand-drawn shape to be able to paste these mask paths in there. Now let me open up our shape layer, highlight our shape, and I'm going to duplicate this 6 times for a total of 7 shapes. I think that's how many I need for this logo. So I'll come down to our logo there, hit M to reveal our mask, and I will hit V to get my selection tool, and I'll click on this first shape here that makes up our grocery bag. And let me come down, and I see that's mask 14. I'll highlight that path and use Command C to copy that path. Now let's open up these shapes, and I'll start with shape 1, path 1, highlight that, and Command V to paste it. And you see that it's pasted in the same scale and same position as the mask from our original logo. Let's open up Fill, grab our eyedropper, and sample that green color. And to make this a bit easier, I'll move our original logo off to the side. That will not affect the positioning of the shapes that we're creating here. As you'll see when I select this next mask, let's find it here, Command C to copy it, come up here to shape 2, open up path 1, and Command V to paste it. Let's open up that fill, eyedropper to sample the color, and there we go. We're going to work our way through all these shapes one at a time. It's not really too tedious because we don't have that many, and it is rather quick work. Just Command C up to our next path, Command V, open up fill, sample the color, and there we go. And we'll just continue to work through these. and see how quickly we can get this done. Command C, shape 4, path 1. We only have one path on each one of these shapes. We could, of course, have more, but in this case we haven't. I can just click that, mask 13, up to shape 5, paste, sample color, mask 8, Command C, shape 6, Command V, and sample. And finally, that shape. Mask 12, Command C, shape 7, Command V, and sample. Now you see we have a few openings here, and I'll just click on this one, hold down Shift, click the next one, hold down Shift, and click the remaining one. And I can see these masks have been highlighted. And my logo layer there, I'll hit Command C to copy those masks. Now we're not going to copy the mask paths and paste them into the shape paths like we did before. We're just going to copy the masks themselves and paste those masks into our shape layer. Let's take a look at these masks, hit M to reveal them. I'll highlight all 3 of them and change the mode to subtract. And there we go. We're making good progress here. Let's clean up these shapes a little bit. I'll take out this S shape cut from our bag, and also this P shape cut from our bag. I'll remove a few of these additional vertices that I don't think we need. And let's take a look. Take out a few of these extra vertices here. I'll hit G to cycle through my pen tool and just remove those. Maybe a couple of these extra ones on the milk carton. And we could do some more work on this if we're inclined to, but I think just for time's sake, we'll just move along. Now, I need this snap added to our bag here, and the way that we'll do that is just use text. So let me reset our logo shape here so that it's we can use it as a guide for the text we're going to add. New text and SNAP. I know that that's Arial rounded, and I'll just move that into position here. As you can see, I've already done some work here composing the size of it and positioning of it, and also the spacing of the letters. I'll just go ahead and leave this like it is. We could certainly do some more work and tweak that a bit, but let's go ahead and go up to Layer and choose Create Masks from Text. Click that and you'll see that we have a new layer with our masks and our letter shapes. I'll highlight all those and Command C to copy them. And now we'll paste those masks into our shape layer. Let's hit M to reveal those. And all these new masks that are here, we'll just leave those in the difference mode. So when we solo this shape layer, here's what we have. And that, in a nutshell, is it. Let's scale that up. You can scale that up about as much as you want, and those edges stay nice and crisp as far as you want to scale this logo. Let's bring it back down to its original size. I'll turn on my Title Action Safe Grid and hit Y so I can move this anchor point to about the center of our logo. I believe that's it right there. And now I'll hit V to get my selection tool and move the whole logo center screen. And let's scale it up a bit. We can make that a 3D layer and add a new camera. I can actually get rid of these other layers now. I don't need them. And we have our new camera. Let's hit C to get our camera tool. And there we go. You got a nice, good-looking, crisp logo there. I think it's a big improvement over what we had originally. We can zoom right through it, and as I said, those edges just stay sharp as a razor. So there you go. We have nice, sharp vector art created from a less than ideal raster image, and it's all done in After Effects. Let's see what else we can do with this. Let's make it back into a 2D layer. Let's get rid of the camera. Let's highlight that and go into Layer, Precompose. And this I'll call Precompose Logo or PC Logo. Now to this, let's add our simulation shatter effect. And we'll change view to rendered. We'll change shape to custom shatter map, our layer, PC logo. Force, let's bring radius down to 0 so that our image does not shatter. And let's open up our camera position. And just on Y rotation, let's bring that around. And okay, we see that we've got a texture here that we want to correct. On the side mode instead of layer, let's change that to color. And color, I'll just sample that green right there. I might even make that a little bit lighter. Okay, let's bring Y rotation back to 0 so we can look on that straight on. And let's make a few adjustments here on the lighting. We'll leave that as distance source, but I'll cut this light intensity in half to 0.5. Light position, I know where I want that. I want that at 725 and 400. And light depth, 0.2. Ambient light, I'll leave that at 0.25. Material, let's change diffuse reflection to 2, our specular reflection to 0.5, and our highlight sharpness to 75. And again, if we change the dimension on that, we get a nice play of light across the front of that there. Let's change our camera system from camera position to comp camera. Our logo disappears until we get our new camera in there. And once we've added that, there we have it. And again, as we rotate around there, we get a nice effect. I should use this collapse transformation because when we get in close, that's going to make this look a lot better. One shortcoming of this technique is if you look on the edges, this shading that the shatter effect creates causes a bit of a problem. And I'll show you what I mean. If we zoom in on this with our camera, we see that as we get extremely close, our edges roughen up. And this is not because this is no longer vector art. I believe what this is a result of that shading that the shatter effect creates as part of its 3D appearance. Now, if this does present a problem for you, there's a couple of ways around this. If you want to keep that 3D depth. If you don't want to do that and you just want to use the logo as it is, as we saw earlier, there's no problem regardless of how close you zoom in on it. Another thing you can do is you can duplicate this layer a number of times, make all these layers 3D, and then you can separate them by a value of about 1 pixel on each layer. Like so. Let's see if I can run through this quickly to show you what I mean. You would probably use more layers than this. No doubt you are familiar with this technique, but we'll just go ahead and demonstrate it here. We'll take all these layers and parent them to our top layer, and then use that. Let's reveal our rotation and just change the orientation there. Now we can see there's a bit of depth there, but to make that more evident, let's highlight all but our top layer, right-click our effects panel, go to color correction, exposure, and I'll bring that exposure down, which will darken that edge some. And so now if we close everything up, Command A will select all our layers and U will close them up now. Let me right click and create a new camera. Let's bring our orientation back to its original position and bring up our camera tools. Now we zoom right through there, as close as you want to get. Still looks good. And if we want to dress that up some, we can add a new light to it. And there we have an effect much like we had using our Shatter effect, but we don't get the artifacts on the edge that the Shatter effect seems to create when you get in there really close. Again, if you're not going that close, it should not present a problem for you. So there we are. Another thing to note about shapes, which is really handy, is if we look at just one of these layers, let's look at this top layer and solo that. We can open up these shapes, and let's grab this shape 6, this loaf of bread here, and open up the transform on the shape controls. Keyframe that position, drag it forward a bit, and let's drag this loaf of bread up and out, and now it animates into position. And we can do that with all these individual shapes on this one layer. So it makes for some nice, clean animation and structure in your composition. Or at least for me, it does make it simpler. But there you have it, friends. I hope this has been useful to you. If we compare that with our original logo, which would you rather present to your client? Well, it's an easy choice for me. This is quick, clean, and simple. Even if you can't always trace your original artwork because of the complexity of it, or maybe the quality is just so bad or there's not a usable channel to trace from, you can still use shapes to create many of the images you need. Perhaps we'll have a chance to take a look at those techniques in a future tutorial. But please let me know if you found this useful, and let me know what other topics that you think you'd like to explore. So till next time, this is Rob Mize, as always, wishing you happy compositing.